Welcome to your A to Z guide to the 2021 French Grand Prix. In the first of a triple header, F1 heads to the south of France to race around the Circuit Paul Ricard for the first time since 2019. After a busy couple weeks on the streets of Monaco and Baku, we return to a more normal Grand Prix circuit, and we've got all the important information that you need to know ahead of this race weekend. So let's start this guide by taking a look at the track facts for the Circuit Paul Ricard. The 2021 French Grand Prix will be the 62nd World Championship F1 Grand Prix to be held in France and the 17th overall at this Paul Ricard circuit. A track that can have over 247 different configurations, F1 will be using the 5.8 kilometer portion with 15 corners overall, 6 to the left and 9 to the right. Paul Ricard has a variety of corners, which makes it a popular test track, so the downforce level is rated as medium. The second sector is dominated by the Mistral Straight and one of two DRS zones, which leads to drivers taking their lap time at full throttle 65% of the time. With the tricky entry into the first corner, pole position is located on the left-hand side of the track, with the distance to the first braking zone being 412 meters. As famous with this track, the color stripes at Paul Ricard aren't just for show. They make up a high-grip asphalt runoff system that replaces traditional gravel traps. Both colors use a mix of asphalt and tungsten to create an abrasive surface that helps slow the cars down if they go off track. However, the abrasion level is different depending on the color of the stripes. The blue zone isn't as abrasive and is only mildly punishing, but the red zone, much closer to the barriers, is much more abrasive and effective at slowing down the cars. The Circuit Paul Ricard has hosted the second most French Grand Prix in F1 history, with 16 altogether, behind Magny-Cours on 18. The most successful constructor around Paul Ricard has been McLaren and Williams, who shared 19% of the total victories with 3 each. Mercedes have owned this circuit since its return to the calendar in 2018, taking 2 wins of their own to tie them with Ferrari at 12% of the total race victories at Paul Ricard. The only current driver to have won at this circuit is Lewis Hamilton, who took both 2018 and 2019 victories from pole. Speaking of pole position, it's a place that you want to start from the most if you're looking to take victory. 62% of race winners at Paul Ricard have started from pole, while only 12% have won from second on the grid. Your chances of winning from outside the top 3 is actually better at 25%. A circuit that is considered one of the safest in the world means that the safety car hasn't been needed all that much in this track's history. There is only a 6% historical chance of a safety car deployment, with the only occurrence being back here at the 2018 race. Here are the following start times for free practice in Central European summertime and the Eastern time zones. These are the qualifying and race start times locally in France and in different areas around the world. First up in the weekend notes, let's look at the weather forecast for the south of France. The Circuit Paul Ricard has a sophisticated sprinkler system that can produce wet conditions for testing, and I think that will be the only chance to see any rain this weekend if those sprinklers go off. It's predicted to be a dry and sunny race weekend with a high of 28 for Sunday and some gusty winds for qualifying coming on Saturday. Moving on to the tire allocation, Pirelli bring the C2, C3, and C4 compounds to Paul Ricard. Tire degradation is low at this circuit, but the high-speed corners of turn 13, for example, take a lot of energy out of the tires. It is also important to note that of all the tracks on the 2021 schedule, Paul Ricard has the highest average track temperature at 50 degrees Celsius and second highest maximum track temperature at 55 degrees Celsius. Keep that in mind for strategies come Sunday, as the winning strategy in 2019 was a medium to hard one-stopper. Pirelli have just released their findings from their investigation into the Baku tire failures a few weeks ago. Pirelli state, quote, "The causes of the two left rear tire failures on the Aston Martin and Red Bull cars have been clearly identified. In each case, this was down to a circumferential break on the inner sidewall, which can be related to the running conditions of the tire. In spite of the prescribed starting parameters, minimum pressure and maximum blanket temperature having been followed. The FIA and Pirelli have agreed to a new set of the protocols, including an upgraded technical directive already distributed, for monitoring operating conditions during a race weekend, and they will consider any other appropriate actions," added Pirelli. Upon the findings of Pirelli's investigation, Red Bull released the following statement, quote, "We have worked closely with Pirelli and the FIA during their investigation into Max's tire failure on lap 47 of the Azerbaijan Grand Prix and can confirm that no car fault was found." They continue to say, "We adhered to Pirelli's tire parameters at all times and will continue to follow their guidance." Here are the rest of your French Grand Prix weekend notes. The streets of Monaco and Baku caused Mercedes to have some of their worst race weekends in their history, so I'm sure they're pretty happy to be in France. Going back to what we saw in Barcelona, it will be advantage Mercedes around Paul Ricard if Red Bull have not learned from their disadvantages in Spain. Mercedes enjoyed an advantage in rear tire life so far, and that exposed a weakness for Red Bull in Barcelona in particular. What makes this race a challenge for Red Bull like it was in Spain is the balance of finding strong end-of-straight speed and low tire degradation. The new wing flexibility test starting in France will mean Red Bull cannot run what they had in Spain, so their solutions to these problems should be one to watch for. Now, one area in which Red Bull could capitalize on Mercedes is around the pit stops in the race. Red Bull are much faster in getting the tires to work in their proper window than Mercedes are, and with the 7-time world champion struggling as of late in the pit lane, mistakes could play another big factor. Also keep an eye out for high winds down the Mistral Straight, which could have more of an impact on the low-rate cars and a team like Williams, for example. It's been a few weeks since we've been to a normal Grand Prix circuit, so I'll be keen to see what Red Bull have learned from their shortcomings in Spain. With all the drama that unfolded in Baku, it's important to remember that Verstappen still holds a slim 4-point championship lead as we head into this important triple header. So that'll do it for your guide to the 2021 French Grand Prix. Thanks very much for watching today's video, and if you like what you saw, give this video a thumbs up, and also jump down in the comments section and let us know your predictions for this weekend's French Grand Prix. We hope you enjoy the race, and in the meantime, check out some of our other videos on the Backmarkers F1 Show channel.